right, and we're back. I am your host, Mike, and this is episode 36 of the Tap Room Podcast. I am a little, if I sound a little sick, it's because I am. So I'm not going to be doing a brewski review on this one. I still want to make sure I got the episode out. But so this will be kind of a quick intro. I just wanted to start off by saying I wanted to apologize because last week initially when the episode got released, that one I had put the wrong interview on it initially. I was able to fix it later on, so that's all taken care of. But this week is John Kennedy from Whittier Brewing over in Whittier, off of Greenleaf and Philadelphia. We had a great conversation. We got to have, a bunch of beers and be able to talk about, his story and stuff like that. But also I got to talk to, one of his employees, Ashley. And then I also got to talk because in their building, I believe it's called the Nixon Building. They also have barbecue, which is, with Brian is the owner from Pit and Bull, barbecue. I got to talk to Jason LaCrosta at the end of the episode, who has, LaCrosta Pizza, wood-fired pizza, in the building as well. And then I also got to talk to Nancy, who runs, as I believe it's a Providence Bakehouse. So, all three places are great. I've tried their barbecue. It was amazing. The pizza was phenomenal. And so was, Nancy's, all of her pastries and stuff like that were delicious. I had the Oreo cheesecake. Dude, it was killer. So definitely, if you're in the area and you have a chance to come down and hang out, spend the day or there's a bunch of places you can check out in Uptown. There's also there's a brewery in Montebello. You can stop at one in Pico Rivera, and then you can stop in Whittier. They're all kind of along the same way, near Whittier Boulevard. So, definitely come check it out. All right. What do we got this week? So SC lost again. Who didn't see that coming, against Utah. The way Utah won at the end was kind of crazy. I think there was the personal foul, the ref and the passer, and then targeting. But yeah, they lost 34-32. Who else? It was not really, LSU rolled. I was one, if Arkansas would have beat Mississippi State, I would have won $1,800 yesterday. So that was a little rough. But yeah, my over hit again this week. It was the Oregon and Washington State game, but won by half a point. So back-to-back covers the last couple of weeks. So that was pretty awesome. What do we got for next week? Let's check next week's slate of games. SC's playing Cal. 1:00 game. Not sure how that's going to go. Florida State, Wake Forest, not too bad. Let's see. Duke and Louisville, though. Could be a good one. Georgia, Florida. That's what the rivalry is big, but I still see Georgia winning that. And Oregon and Utah next week. That should be pretty good. That's a 12:30 game. Oh yeah, I'll watch that one. Pitt and Notre Dame. Notre Dame should win. But Pitt usually plays them fairly well. Let's see what else we got. I think those are only, there's other top 25. Ohio State's playing Wisconsin. I don't really see that going Wisconsin's way at all. Ohio State beat Penn State yesterday pretty, thoroughly too. It was a 20-6 or something or other. Let me double check that. No, 20-12. So, not a ton of scoring in that game. Thank goodness I stayed over in that game. I thought the defenses might play a little, play things a little tighter, but it is what it is. What else? The World Series is going to start on Monday, because I think both games are So yeah, if the Astros are playing today, they're up 3-2. What a series that has been. It's been there's been ups, there's been downs, things have been going crazy, but yeah, they look really good. The Astros, that's kind of what I said last week. Had a feeling it would be them, but Texas, had been fighting back. They, going up 2-0 and now blowing that lead. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's 3-2 at the moment in that series, and we also have the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Phillies one game away from going to the World Series again. That would be pretty crazy to have a rematch of last year's World Series, but if that happens, Navi's my buddy, big Astros fan, obviously, but I still feel like that the Phillies, it's just kind of feels like they have something going on. Kind of like a destiny kind of, team. But the Astros kind of seem to put out all those things. Didn't all year the Astros kind of been battling up that uphill battle, even coming back to win the division, stuff like that, and they were able to do it. So, I would never count out the Astros, and I wouldn't bet against them either. But we shall see. But all right, I'm going to shut up now. Like I said, this is going to be a quick intro. I'll be back. Hopefully, I'm healthy by next week, and I'll be back with a couple makeup for it with a couple brewski reviews. All right, Tap Fab. I hope you enjoyed the interview with John Kennedy. You all take care, and keep an eye out or listen out for the outro. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room. I am your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on today. I have John Kennedy. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing well. And John has started a brewery over here in Whittier back in, is it 2019?
Yeah, we opened in December 2019.
Awesome. So yeah, Whittier Brewing Company. It's a really awesome place because you guys have multiple food vendors in here and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I can't remember what they call those things.
It's kind of a food hall concept.
There you go.
In a way, usually a lot of those will have. When we first started, it was under one of our business partners did all the food.
Okay.
And that was Ricardo Diaz, who's partner in the brewery. He's a local restaurateur
Awesome.
here. He has a couple pretty well-known stuff around here. So he kind of started that. And then also, if you just heard, I opened December 2019.
Yeah.
3 months later, the great pandemic hit, and that kind of made us kind of change how we were doing things. Like he couldn't keep up and doing all of that food because the people weren't coming back yet.
Yeah.
So he kind of willed it down a little bit. And then we just ended up finding other vendors to come in and take over. So now we have kind of their own business is each spot, which is it seems to be working out a little bit better, a little more variety, easier for each one to run solo kind of a thing instead of one person trying to do it all.
Yeah, it all being under like one umbrella.
Yeah.
Because I saw you guys have like pizza in here. There's
La Crosta,
bistro.
La Crosta wood fire pizza. They started out just as a trailer, kind of doing those, at the liquor stores and other breweries and stuff like that. They were here in Whittier down the street. They came in a couple times and we already had the pizza oven. We're like, you want to try it?
Yeah.
And within like the first week, they already were blowing up.
Wow.
They've been in LA Times a couple times just on like, hey, new exciting pizzerias in LA that you have to try kind of a thing. So they've been a pretty good fit for us right away.
That's awesome because I always feel like pizza and beer.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go
wrong. And then Pit and Bull is a friend from around here. He wanted to be in here, and how do you say no to someone that has that kind of motivation and excitement to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
And he just threw out some ideas, and when he said he can do slow cooking barbecue, I was like, again, what goes better with beer?
Exactly, yeah.
Barbecue. And then Senna Vegan came in, and we were a little surprised at that because Senna Vegan's pretty big and out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smorgasbord. They have spots all around.
Yeah.
And they saw this place as kind of like a centralized place for where all their fans go to anyway.
Okay.
So they came in and they're really easy to work with. They have their kitchens off site where they just bring in all their stuff and it's ready to go.
That's awesome.
It's still great stuff. And then it's vegan, so
yeah.
I get to be a little different than just another taco joint.
Oh, for sure.
That's kind of a running joke around here in Whittier is that, hey, look, a restaurant open.
Yeah.
It's another taco joint. So we get to be a little different than with that. The other two up front is Providence Bakehouse.
Okay.
They literally, I made friends with them when there's a farmer's market right behind us every Friday.
Okay.
And I used to be cinnamon roll every Friday.
Nice.
Got to know them. They said they were doing like commissary kitchen somewhere.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I have a back kitchen.
Yeah.
What do you need? And they kind of it was real simple. They just need a big old convection style oven.
Wow.
And they took off again, just like La Crosta did. I mean, there's more lines sometimes at Providence Bakehouse in La Crosta than my beer line.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little like, hey, wait, no, hey. But it's really exciting to see those things take off. And then Crepes Bonaparte, they came in and just provide that another nice dessert style crepe style. Yeah. That again fits for this place.
Yeah, I feel like Uptown Whittier has always been kind of like there's a little bit of everything. I feel like at one point. I know at one point there was like a ton of taco shops.
Yeah, there still are.
Yeah.
And I know, the city is working on revitalizing the Greenleaf Boulevard into making it more of a, they call it the promenade.
Yeah.
They're still kind of working on design and stuff like that. But I think the city knows that this street, especially on Greenleaf, needs to really get updated. So
a little bit of a facelift.
Yeah. I mean, if, those trees are great. I get trees, but they're uprooting the sidewalks and they're actually covering your storefronts. And, I think there just needs to be like a little modernization out there.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the next couple of years that gets going, because that'll help a lot.
Yeah, because I feel like it's been the same. I mean, I've been coming here since I was a kid, going to Rocky Cola and, going to the, as I got older, I still buy comic books and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was my comic shop. Cutting Edge was where I would get my haircuts, and going and buying DVDs over at, or used DVDs at,
Levels.
Yeah, there you go.
Levels, Moonshine, all those. Yeah, I mean, we started going to the bottle room back in the day. That was our intro to craft beer, was that. And that's a lot how this kind of ended up starting, is just we started to homebrew because we're like, oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
What?
That's a profession.
That's how you guys started this? How you started your brewery? You just homebrewed and then you're doing that? I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, we sucked the first year. We were horrible homebrewers.
Yeah, it happens. Everybody's told me that when they've homebrewed, it's always like the first batch is always kind of a throwaway.
You just call it a sour.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's a brown. I'm like, no, it's a sour. Yeah. No, that was just kind of the start. So yeah, we're excited to be here to see, that growth here on Greenleaf and the promenade in the uptown area. And even on the other streets, the sides, there's a lot of things going on with the city as far as, apartments, condos, housing, stuff like that. It should be pretty exciting. I always thought that the city looked at like Pasadena, Colorado Boulevard, that look, but not 18 miles long.
Yeah.
It's just a few blocks here, but they still want that kind of aesthetic and vibe as far as, a mixture of bars and retail and restaurants and all the stuff like that.
That's awesome. I mean, and I feel like, it's definitely feel like it's going that way, especially like I know they're opening like brunch spots and stuff like that. I've seen, I think she's gone to one, what was the one you went to? The brunch spot?
Here?
Yeah.
Is it down the street?
Is it called Mimosas or something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know that.
There's one that just opened down the street that's pretty popular next to the movie theater. It's all that, I forget the name.
I used to love that theater as a kid. I would go there all the time. But let's have the first one of your beers, the Friendly Pills.
So
right?
early.
Let's do it. What's the ABV on this one?
Usually around 5%.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crystal clear.
Mm-hmm. It's super traditional. It's the 3470 yeast, just Pilsner malt, and the Howler, I'm not going to say it right, but the Howler Tower Mittelfra classic Pilsner hop that everybody uses. So.
That's delicious, though, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. That's probably the one that I've worked. It's the most simplest beer, but I probably worked the hardest on trying to get it to where I want it to be. Mm-hmm. And I'm still not quite there, but it's like 95%, I think.
Oh, no. Yeah, it seems like you're pretty locked into me. That's really good.
Well, like they say, the hardest beer to make is a Pilsner, because if you have a fault, it's out there.
Yeah, so. I was just going to say that too. Anytime I've talked to like brewers or something like that, or going to breweries, they're like, brewers always tell me like, oh, when I go to a different brewery, I want to try their Pilsner, because if that's good, then probably everything else
should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So going back to 2019, you guys open, everything happens. What was it like? What was it like trying to navigate through that for you?
I think just like everybody else, it was just like, we have no idea.
Yeah.
We were just like, okay, we couldn't have anybody in here. I can't remember. We were closed. Everybody was closed for, was that 2 or 3 weeks or whatever?
Yeah.
We were just like, okay, we still had work to do in here. So we were kind of doing that, just, infrastructure and whatever. And then when they kind of reopened, but you couldn't have anybody seating or inside, we were just doing growler sales.
Okay.
Bring your growler in. Mm-hmm. And there are times we did okay with it.
Yeah.
But there were other times we were just sitting at the front with our little growler cleaning station and just like twiddling our thumbs, like, which I get. I mean, being out was not a thing.
Yeah.
What saved, it's not really saved us. What helped us kind of get back and going into the swing of things and, keep brewing and stuff like that is we have that outdoor beer garden.
Okay.
So I remember them allowing outdoor seating first.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of set that up, with the 6 feet apart and all that. That kind of helped a little bit, just to get beer going. I had beer in kegs and the tanks. I was like, well, let's just see what we can do with it. It wasn't until we got the indoor seating that still had a lot of restrictions that we kind of saw what the place could kind of be.
Okay.
But even then, that was a challenge because, we had 90-minute or 2-hour limits.
Yeah.
You had to come from one household.
Yeah.
I had to have a front desk where I had to do check-ins because you saw how big this place is.
Oh, yeah.
That if I don't have eyeballs up front, it's just everyone's going to come in and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So we had to do temperature checks. We had to explain the rules.
Yeah.
A lot of people were totally understand. They were super great about it. But then we had our Karens and Kens that just didn't get it. And we're like, we understand that. Yeah. Whatever your feeling is on it, on the COVID thing, that's great. It's just we have to follow what the health department tells us to do. Otherwise, we're going to get... Because we heard stories of places all around getting fined, shut down. And I'm like, I'm not about that.
Oh, for sure. And that's and I get because whatever people's political beliefs are, you can't you're just doing your job so you can stay open.
Yeah.
It's it's like
I know we're one city over from Orange County.
Yeah.
They have a whole different health department and they didn't have those restrictions.
Yeah.
So we had people from Orange County, one instance where a gentleman didn't have his mask on. We asked him as he's walking, hey, please. Yeah. His friend said, well, but he's from Orange County.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's cool. I was like, but you're in LA County.
Yeah.
And he kind of doubled down on it. He says no. But he's from Orange County. They were saying because there, they don't have to follow the rules here. And it's stuff like that that was just... Yeah. It was very... a lot of... I don't call it stress. Just, you got yelled at so much that we're just like... You just kind of got used to it, and you're just like, whatever.
Yeah. And
there's the door. Go somewhere else.
You're trying your best. That's the thing. You can only, as a business owner, you can only do, so much. You have to follow the letter of the law. And, as bad as it is, and I feel like breweries got taken out, had the worst of it.
A little unfair. Yeah. I know a lot of breweries, that were, especially the ones that were more in your traditional industrial park area, that people just didn't go. Because... one, they didn't know where it's at. It's a little more out of the way, so they just stayed away from those kinds of places. And it was pretty weird. Where that was a year and a half. Yeah, a year that we had to do that.
Crazy.
But going into this year, we've seen. We're using this year as our basis for what we think we can do and grow from. Okay. The first couple of years, I'm just kind of they're just there. Yeah. I'm whatever. It's this past year where we've seen a little more consistency, the people coming out, they're no longer making bread at home, learning how to play the guitar, all these things that they had to do because they couldn't go out. Yeah. Or they were afraid to, or nervous to, or, whatever their reason. So we see it more, especially even the businesses up and down Greenleaf here in Uptown. Everyone's a little bit more, which is great.
So you mentioned the bottle room earlier. That was my bar was 6740.
Sure, Mike at the 40 is a wonderful human being. I go there for lunch and a beer all the time.
Oh yeah, they got good stuff. I would always get their buffalo wings and French fries were my go-to.
The fries there are great.
Their nachos are really good too.
Yeah, everything nachos there is just good stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the bottle room is kind of where, like I said, that's kind of where we started the beer journey. Okay. They opened 2009.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I remember when it opened. I remember it was a really big deal.
And I had a couple friends that I was working with in a whole different life. They said, hey, this place open. Let's go check it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I went there, and I remember the first beer I had was Moose Drool.
Oh, and yeah. Big Sky.
I was like, what is this? It's brown ale. I was like, wow. And that just started from there.
That's awesome.
And I would just go through some of the lineups that they had. What was really great, they would actually have brewers come in for tap takeovers.
Oh, wow.
Nowadays, that doesn't really happen. Yeah. Rob Croxel from El Segundo would be behind the bar. Yeah. Henry from Monkish would be there sitting at a table or behind the bar with his stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. And you got to ask them questions. And
That's awesome.
that's where we kind of learned where a lot of those brewers were just like, yeah, we homebrewed.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, we could do that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know how. We didn't
Yeah.
know what we were doing. And then I found a kit at Whole Foods.
The Mr. Beer kit?
Brooklyn Beer or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
The 1
remember the
gallon
Brooklyn
thing.
ones, yeah.
And that was our first brown sour that we made.
Awesome. The good
Yeah.
old brown sour, huh?
And then we just went from there to the 5 gallon buckets to
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more pricey stuff. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And we just found our system over like the last 3-4 years of homebrewing.
Okay.
You know? I mean, yeah, I used to have jugs in my hallway.
Yeah.
8-9 beers going at once, and I was just like, never again.
Yeah.
They're just bubbling away, keeping me awake at night. But yeah, that was how we learned
That's awesome.
some of our just recipe building kind of skills and understanding what's what.
Yeah.
I mean, it was homebrew, so it's always, equipment. I hate to say that equipment makes a difference, but sometimes
yeah.
it does.
I bet. I mean, because I know me and my brother wanted to start homebrewing, and I think we will maybe sometime next year. Just we're both so busy because he works for Brewery X, so he does like can artwork and he does like distribution. Well, helps him with distribution over there. But he's busy. I'm busy doing this, and then my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough. But we wanted to get one of those Brewzillas because it's kind of an all-in-one.
Oh,
from
the
what they told
all-in-one
me.
grain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, see, like that didn't exist when I was around.
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah.
I'm like, I know they go for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we didn't
Yeah.
do that. We're just like, no, we're not yet. Because if we would have done that, I don't know if we would have. Well, yeah, we probably would have made better beer, I guess. But yeah,
But
that's
it's cutting
here
your
and there.
teeth, though. It's kind of like, it's, breaking into something like that and learning to, all right, well, I did this last time. Maybe I'll try this next time.
Yeah, we didn't really. Yeah, we just, like I said, we learned. We always wanted to experiment with just. Almost every beer was like different.
Yeah.
And we wanted to learn, okay, what does this crystal do? What does this carafa do? What does two-row do versus Pilsner do?
Yeah.
And how much wheat? So we are always kind of making new and different things just to kind of learn what certain ingredients do.
Okay.
And that was our big thing. And I still kind of do that here.
Yeah.
I have a heavy rotation on
That's
hazies
awesome,
and West
though.
Coast. I mean, you just have to.
Yeah.
And then you have our cores that we actually really made our cores here.
Okay.
We never really brought anything from homebrew. Just like I said, just kind of understanding your bittering and
Yeah.
don't use too much dark stuff in your IPAs. You want crystal clear IPAs now, not
Yeah.
your old school 1995 IPAs.
Yeah.
So that's where all that's what I think homebrew kind of did for me as a brewer is just learning what does what.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's just kind of that, learning. Well, you kind of get like the basis of everything kind of through that, and then you just continue to evolve. And one thing when I love talking to brewers because anytime I do, they're always like, yeah, it's good, but
It can be better.
Yeah. And there's always
You're
that
never
strive.
satisfied.
Yeah. You always want to like that. I feel like all brewers are perfectionists because they want to just continue to elevate it. Like they want to just not just have it take it here. They want to take it over there, take it over here, see where they can go with it.
Oh yeah, and everybody does have different taste profiles. So some people may like the West Coast, some people may not.
Oh yeah,
and that's totally fine. I'm always like I say, the Friendly Pills I think is about 95%.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm working on basically what I'm working on now is just kind of like on the bittering hop, playing with a couple different ones to kind of make it pop a little bit more. Because one of the things I always got in competitions and stuff is that it was a little cloying, so a little too sweet.
Gotcha.
Pilsner are supposed to be bright, crisp, and super carbonated. So I was like, okay, I know I'm carbonated, right?
Yeah.
But why are people saying it's cloying? So I was like, all right, let me work on the bittering to kind of get that balance.
And you get a little piney from it. It's really good though. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
you want to try
appreciate
this? Here we go. Yeah, she's also a craft beer
There you
person
go.
for me.
Hey,
So
you probably have to be if you're together. Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just a sip. Sorry. We'll get you one after. So you started homebrewing. Was that like because you said it was like 2009 when that was it? Was that shortly after
It was
that?
probably a couple years after bottle room kind of stuff that we decided to like, hey, let's try this. And
Okay.
so from about roughly 2010 to 16, 17.
Okay.
We were pretty constant. There's a group of us. There was 4 of us, all friends doing it.
Awesome.
which was always fun because, one of the first rules of homebrew is
Yeah.
crack open a homebrew.
Yeah.
So that was always fun. And then, it whittled down to just me and Ed, who's one of the owners here, that we just kind of kept going at it. About once a weekend, we would just try to make something
Awesome.
just to keep it going with no real intent on doing this.
Yeah.
Sure, you had your dreams or whatever, but we were like, well, I have my 9 to 5, you have your 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't got any savings or anything like that. How do we, we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we kept doing that, and then we ended up making a few beers for a friend of ours that got married. He was a bartender at the bottle room, and there was another friend that said, like, hey, this guy Ricardo Diaz, he's thinking about doing something like that. You should talk to him.
Oh, awesome.
Talked to him over about maybe, so this is now like 2016, 2017. Talked to him, went over some beers that we would make, kind of our thinking about what a brewery should be and what me and Ed wanted to do, and what he was wanting to do. And then it was just a handshake agreement in 2017-ish.
Awesome.
It was like, hey, let's do this. And
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it was like oh shit moment. Where it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, we're doing this.
Yeah. Well, they would say, like the come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, it's like, where do we get equipment? Where do we do this? Where do we do that?
Yeah.
And we figured it out. We did have a few different locations before this one that we were trying to do.
Yeah.
Ricardo has property, so some of that was going to be
Okay.
maybe use that. Didn't work out for that.
This is like prime location though, right here.
Yeah, we were making a bid for there's the old Salvation Army building.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a martial arts
The dojo.
store,
Oh, okay.
for online stuff like this, a supply
Okay.
store.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
We got outbid by them.
Oh, okay.
I really liked that spot because, if we knew we were going to do like this food hall concept thing.
Yeah.
That's Anaheim Packing House 2.0 right over
Yeah,
there.
pretty
That
much,
type
yeah.
of big old square, solid foundation, big ceiling, it would have been perfect. Got outbid, and it was around that time that somehow either the city got wind of Ricardo doing this,
Yeah.
that they mentioned this place.
Oh wow.
And we were like, what? Really? Like, I was like, what are we going to do there?
Yeah.
And we walked in, and it was just kind of like, yeah, how do you say no?
Yeah.
And Ricardo was like, look, it's right in the middle of Uptown. You already have people. You don't have to go
Yeah.
advertise, so to speak. There's going to be people here.
Oh, for sure.
Granted, it's big. It's, depending on how you look at it, it's anywhere from 12 to 15,000 square feet
Yeah, it's huge in there.
with a basement that I don't have access to, but there's
Yeah.
a basement under here. But it's also built in 1932.
Yeah.
So there's some old stuff around here that we're like, no, I think we just decided we can work around that. We can, build and clean and update as we go. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole kind of thing where that was Ricardo's vision, is like, you can't say no to this place.
Oh yeah.
Because if we didn't take it, I guarantee probably some other brewery would have taken it.
Oh,
or
for
a brewery
sure.
concept would have been like, yeah, we can do
Yeah.
it. So
And
it's mostly a love thing.
Yeah.
There's some hate, but it's mostly love. The owners of the building, STC Management, John Shu, has been really great, especially through pandemic,
Awesome.
to kind of understand.
Yeah.
We were closed basically for a year and a half. You
Yeah.
weren't making anywhere near what you kind of need to make to pay what you got to pay.
Yeah.
And, I think he knew that if we didn't come in, it would just be another nightclub type of setting in here is that he would have to put in, and the
Yeah.
city didn't want that. It's, there was issues with this place being a nightclub back in the day.
Well, I remember, yeah. 'Cause
Hughes,
I remember
Rose,
when it was
Visa.
a bank, and I remember it being like a nightclub at one point. I was never about that scene. I was always at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember it
I
being
moved
this
into
way.
Whittier in 2000, and I was working for the Whittier Daily newspaper group.
Oh, wow.
And I never really came to Uptown
Yeah.
because I was like, no, not my scene.
Yeah.
Firehouse Grill, I would go to that every once in a while. Maybe the 40, but I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm, not me. Their stories from the police would tell me that they'd have to surround this place when it closed.
Oh yeah. And that,
And it's
I
like
remember
stuff like that is just
hearing
like,
about it.
yeah. And we went through some hurdles with the city because they were worried it's alcohol and wine, it's
There's
beer
a
and wine.
brewery, stuff like that.
Is that going to be the same thing? We had to really kind of show them it's like a brewery is not that kind of situation.
And I feel like once you kind of explain that to them, I feel like that's when like the light bulb moment happens. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when I've talked to people too, like talked to Augustine in Pico, and he told me about like how the city was like completely against it at first, but then when they kind of laid out what it actually is, they're like, oh, okay, we get it now.
Yeah, I mean, every brewery that opens the first time in a city that's never had a brewery, they go through hoops. Like we called the city, saying like, hey, we want to open a brewery.
Yeah,
can you help us? What do we need to do?
Yeah,
and the reply back was, no one's ever asked us that before.
Yeah,
so, and then it was just silence.
Yeah,
like they would, they didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
we're like, okay, let's okay. I mean, then we got the ball rolling, and city got involved a little bit more with stuff, and I mean, there were we had our normal delays to do it. I mean, there was probably like 8 to 10 months that were tacked on just because of, I don't want to blame the city, but some of it was a city, some of it was property, but there's a lot of things that were added in, that added to it. But now a brewery wants to open, they can probably just 6 months into it, boom, there you go.
Yeah, because you guys laid down the foundation for them.
Which is fine. I mean, that happens everywhere.
Of course.
And the more breweries that are here in Whittier, the better anyway. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to draw more craft beer types of people that are going to want to go to each one.
Exactly.
And try. Yeah. So our little 4 corners of breweries, La Bodega, me, Breweria, and Angry Horse, are all, we understand this is our little area that we whatever you need, let's help each other out to kind of grow and create a little craft beer corridor, so to speak, along 605 and the Whittier Boulevard kind of a thing.
That's awesome. And the one thing I love about like this community is everybody's like always willing to help. I mean, it's rare that like most of the times if I reach out to somebody, they usually respond. There are times where like you don't hear anything, but I mean, sometimes things get lost.
Yeah, I mean, I got that. I mean, another prior life, I was working in the craft beer distribution. I was just doing deliveries.
Okay.
And you would hear that kind of, I mean, I would go and just ask homebrew questions to, like Eagle Rock, the guys at Eagle Rock and Brew Yard.
Oh, I love Brew Yard.
Yeah. And they would just answer it right away. Yeah. Without any like, what do you mean? What do you?
Like why are you kind of coming on my territory kind of thing?
It's not that. They just want to help and grow that community. So it was like, I already have that instilled in me. So I'm 100% the same way. Any home brewer that comes in here is like, hey, I'd really love to. It's like, let's bring it in.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert at, breaking down a beer if it's great or bad or or anything like that. But I'll let you know my honest opinion if I like it or not. Yeah. And you go from there.
That's awesome.
So that community, like you said, is just it's one of the best things about the craft beer community around here. I mean, I can go to San Francisco, go meet someone up there and tell them like, oh yeah, it would just, I know it would be the same. Yeah. It'd be the same openness and welcoming kind of a thing. Because even though we're competition, it's not like other type of business competition. It's a little different. Yeah. I mean, that's why like every time I've talked to somebody, like they've always said like, oh yeah, we're, if you need, like I remember because the first episode I did when I changed it to the tap room was with Mike Cray over at Unsung. And he told me, he's like, hey, if you ever need like contacts or anything like that, I was like, oh, I'd never had anybody tell me anything like that. I was like, oh, cool. Like, but I mean, I also don't want to like, I don't want to be the one to be like, oh, could you tell this person, could tell that person? Keep asking. Yeah. Yeah. And I've never kind of been that way. So I'll reach out. If I hear something back, fantastic. If I don't, that's okay too. Yeah. Because there's always I asked some basic questions back in the day to some of the brewers that are out there. And I'm just like, I kind of started with like, hey, I'm really sorry to ask this. And I know this is probably, a dumb question, but, and they'd be like, no, just do this. Or, hey, try this or do that. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Awesome. It would give me a starting point to kind of get a little closer to the solution and then figure it out from there. Awesome. I mean, so
You could say you said like 2016, 2017, the gears started going. That's kind of when you had the idea to.
Yeah, and then it was just a lot of research on equipment, the layout, what we were looking at to do.
I love the layout out there, by the way.
It's getting worked on.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, this past year, we kind of felt really good about this is how a year should go. So now we can kind of, save a little dough and put it back into, the decoration and stuff. Like just recently outside in the beer garden, I finally got approved for an outdoor servery.
Okay.
Plus some bench seats and a pergola, like trellis roof.
Awesome.
So I can get rid of the trees that drop everything.
Yeah.
Leaves and berries everywhere. And then just kind of open it up and create more of a destination type of space. That's always been our goal, is to make Whittier Brewing Company a known destination. Because you live in Whittier, you go to Pasadena, you go to downtown LA, you go to Long Beach, or you even go to Fullerton or Orange County somewhere.
Yeah.
But people there don't really say, hey, let's go to Uptown Whittier tonight. It's the work in progress to get there. And we want to be kind of something like that, where we hear people is like, oh yeah, I went to breweries in Pasadena, I love Craftsman, and we heard about you, we wanted to come out. I want that, because if we start that, then I know they're going to spread out and help everybody. And just like if we get more and we focus on the restaurants and some of the retail, that's going to draw in that kind of crowd, and those people are going to come over and visit me or other places. So it's kind of the goal is just to kind of like, if I can somehow jumpstart some of that, I'm like, let's go. Let's just, go to town and kind of make this place what it deserves to be, especially this building here.
And that's awesome. And I feel like one of the best, obviously, the best advertisement is word of mouth. I mean, like, getting people like, oh yeah, you got to try this. I mean, my brother kept telling me over and over, dude, you got to come down there.
I like your brother. I'll give him a beer next time he comes in.
Yeah. And man, my buddy Ivan too, he was just like, yeah, man, he's like, we went down there, we should go check it out. I was like, well, I'm going to reach out to him and just, responded. And now we're here having a beer, 10
o'clock in the morning. It's great.
On a gorgeous Sunday. So, I mean, it's nice, but I also always love to ask any brewer I ever talk to is your favorite style to brew and your favorite style to drink.
To drink is probably anything IPA.
Okay.
I mean, if I go somewhere, like you say, you start with a Pilsner, because you can kind of tell if a brewer's doing okay with a super clean classic Pilsner, and then. But usually I'll go. I mean, we're hopheads through and through here.
Awesome.
So making a good West Coast hazy, or what I probably will drink more. But if I'm here, having a shifty, it's the Friendly Pills. I had just made an American lager that's a little more on the sweet side. That's just crushable.
Awesome.
So regularly, I'll probably drink those. I mean, it's the brewer's drink. When I drink a 7.5 or 7, you just want like a 5%, 4.5.
You can only have so many.
I got to wake up tomorrow,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say making the Friendly is probably one of the more ones that where it's at now. I've really appreciate making it. Yeah. Because I've gotten it where I think I really want it to be.
Awesome.
Hazies are kind of just I don't want to give anybody secrets. I'm not saying that I don't care, but it's just a lot of wheat, a lot of oats, and then dry hop the hell out of it. Yeah. I mean, that's your basic thing to do with the hazy. You can find some balances in there, but it's, they're not hard to make. It's the old Stone adage, when in doubt, add more hops. And that's what we do with IPAs. Just throw a bunch of hops in there for aroma, get a good bitterness, and you're probably okay. Yeah. Greenleaf was the other one that I've worked on. That started as a pale. Okay. Then it turned into a double IPA. That was too much. And then now it's like at that 7% IPA kind of a thing.
Might have to try that one next.
That 11 a.m. beer.
Oh, yeah. Need that 11 a.m. beer to really get you going in the morning.
Yeah, but I think it's lagers. I mean, we never really homebrewed many lagers. Just because, it's cold fermentation and it was easier to make ales at that 70 degrees than 50, 48. Yeah. So doing it here was a little new, and we were like just kind of like looking at the tank, over a few days. We're like, what do you think it's doing? I don't know. Is it bubbling? Yeah. Okay. Is it diacetyl? I don't know. I mean, we were very novice on making lagers and pilsners in the beginning, and like I said, I mean, again, friends in the community helped with the water treatment and just kind of like dialing in little 2% there, 5% there to make like a 20% difference.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at with it now.
That's awesome, man. And I love hearing that too, because like you just being able to do those or find those different outlets, to be able to help you, because I mean YouTube I feel like is huge now for home brewing.
Home brewing, yeah.
But I mean it wasn't like, maybe like 6-7 years ago it wasn't. I don't feel like it was as relevant, because now I feel like you can watch like 10, well, probably would say more than 10, probably like 50 different people brewing, different
But even
things.
then, I've seen some of those things, and even then, every brewery is slightly different. Every equipment manufacturer is different, so you can get the gist of how someone does it. But I still have to go like, well, I see how you're doing that. I would have to do the same thing, but differently.
Yeah.
So,
and also make it your own as well.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, just on the technique, on like the structure of your brew house and stuff, it's always a little different. So.
For sure. Maybe I'll hit pause so I can grab one of those, and we'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah. And we're back. Got
Sweet.
another fresh beer poured here. This one is the Greenleaf IPA. And you said it was Citra.
7%. Warrior Simcoe Citra. It's
Awesome.
your classic bittering combination. One of our cores.
Smells delightful. Also, definitely piney for sure.
Definitely. Well, kegged only about
good.
4 or 5 days ago. So
yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't get any fresher.
Oh, that sounds so good. My friend Chris, who messaged me saying to try this one, was right.
Yeah.
It was a good
Awesome.
one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
No worries. Yeah, no, this is delicious, man. Like,
Thank you.
You have the gift.
Again, trial and error somewhat on that one. Like I said, that started as Greenleaf Pale, where we tried to make it, that classic balance between the malt and the hops. Nothing too crazy, and it just on the big system, it just turned into an IPA. And I was like, okay, don't fight it.
Yeah.
Make a different pale. Philadelphia is what we have.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that one. That I'm still working on that one, but this one, yeah, it's pretty much there. People ask for it all the time.
Oh.
That friendly. We have another one, Green Thumb,
Okay.
where that one's a little more tropical notes, where this one is your classic piney, citrus, resinous kind of a thing.
Awesome. I wanted to ask you, I almost lost my train of thought there. So you moved to Whittier in 2000?
I moved here in 2000. Different life. I was a photojournalist for the Whittier Daily News,
Awesome.
which was part of the San Gabriel Valley News Group. So
Okay.
Pasadena Star News, San Gabriel Valley Tribune, and the Whittier Daily News. That's what I went to school for at Long Beach State, was journalism. Yeah, different life.
Hey, but when you find what you love.
Yeah, and I moved to Whittier when when I started working. I was just, as I would do assignments in between, I would just kind of like look for an apartment, and I found one about 3 blocks from here.
Awesome.
So that was how, then when the bottle room opened, it's like, oh, hey, great.
Yeah.
3 blocks there, and
Exactly.
it's sort of downhill on the way home. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. Make that, I used to call it the drunk walk, because I lived in Whittier at one point, and I was in Pico for a lot of my life, and then like in Norwalk, but I would always call it the drunk walk to In-N-Out. So
Sure.
but yeah,
I get it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so, that was, it was about 5 years I was with them. And then newspapers were just taking a tank.
Yeah.
So laid off, and 6 glorious months of unemployment. I was like, oh, I'm getting paid to do nothing. Like this, I can't keep doing this, because I'm going to get stuck with this, with doing nothing. And then, we always made the joke at the newspapers, like, it doesn't matter. We know newspapers are going down. We're all going to get laid off at some point.
Yeah.
We're all going to go work at Starbucks. Because, that was when Starbucks baristas were buying houses from their stock options. And all stuff. I was like, so I went and did that.
Oh, wow.
I got to like management in Starbucks, and I was like 6 years at Starbucks.
Wow.
I still shudder.
Yeah.
You have to have a certain thick hide to work at Starbucks.
I can
I
imagine.
envy those kids.
Yeah.
We deal with it here, kind of, that register counter thing. It's you got to have a right mentality for it, because you're going to get yelled at for no reason. And it's
for sure.
And then it gets really busy, and you're just like, you're trying, you're going, and it's just like, yeah. So it taught me a little bit just on the patience of, hey, there's a long line. We'll get through it. Don't worry about it. I mean, if the beer's that good, they're going to wait.
People are going to wait.
They're going to wait.
No doubt.
But yeah, after that, then I kind of decided I got into the craft beer drinking scene, made friends with a guy that went and started doing beer repping for a distribution company. He's like, hey, you're home brewing. Do you want to get in? I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And I started doing deliveries for Incline Beverages. And that was back in the day. They used to have Epic out of Utah. They had Monkish for a second, Enegrin, a couple others. And I worked with him for a couple years. He closed shop. Well, he didn't close shop. I found he was based out in Santa Clarita, so I was commuting to Santa Clarita and then driving to Malibu, Orange County, LA, back out to Santa Clarita, back to Whittier. Yeah, it was brutal.
That was a lot of miles right there.
Yeah, and then I found another distributor, small, independent, Wiegand family distribution. Scott Wiegand's been around in the beer world forever. He was like one of the original Stone reps.
Yeah.
A really good guy. Him and his wife ran it, so I was like, yeah, that's who I want to work for. Something like that.
That's awesome.
And they were just up in Monrovia, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, not that bad.
That's easy.
Yeah.
And I actually had distribution with him for a little bit, but he decided to, again, move on to bigger and better things. So he closed shop here just recently, but still friends with him. And
awesome.
I learned a lot on the distribution side, where a lot of brewers will learn brewing side. I learned more on distro side.
Okay.
Where I understand that distribution is like 3 jobs.
Yeah.
It's the rep going out to sell. It's the driver. And then you have to have the beer, the brewer thing still.
Yeah.
The canning line, the packaging stuff. And I'm just like, that's not here yet.
Yeah.
We want to, but not yet. With this big of space, I go through enough beer here that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's when we expand, and hopefully in the next year, 2 years with more tanks and stuff, then we'll get back into that distro game to get the beer out there, and cans and draft and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it seems like, you have like your eyes set, like, going continuing to, growing. And growth is, either
it's all a front. I'm just making it up as I go, honestly. I mean,
but it's okay though, because I always quote Shawshank: "It's get busy living or get busy dying."
Yeah, and 8 days a week.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of breweries, when they came in, because we've held the LA Brewers Guild meeting here twice, and a lot of them come in and they don't know how big this is.
Yeah.
Like the space. And, because a lot of them are in that classic, they've been around for a while, so they're in that industrial park, and they're just like, this is like, you don't need distribution. I was like,
really?
What?
Don't.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand that until I tell them how much I'm going through, and they're like, yeah, just focus on that. And you'll be fine. Distribution will come as, naturally.
Yeah.
If you build up the brand name here, hopefully distribution will come and like seek me out, instead of me going to have to build up a clientele of bars and liquor stores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll want to come to me to do it. I mean, that's, knock on wood, the plan, but who knows?
For sure, though. But I mean, I feel like, because with brand recognition, like, I always, I talked to, her name is Latrice Harris. She's like, dude, it's like beer education. I think when was her episode? A couple weeks ago. But when her and I talked, we talked about like that trust kind of factor, where like you've been to that brewery enough, they just keep putting out consistently great beers, and you kind of like you learn that, like, oh, it doesn't matter what they put out, because I'm gonna try it anyway.
Yeah.
So once and I feel like, you're well on your way, like, I honestly feel like you're already there. I've only had 2, but when you have that, when you kind of build that, like, I feel like the people from the guild were saying, like, it's just kind of, people are gonna be like, I need that, or people hear this, or because I don't know, for whatever reason, I get a ton of downloads in like Ohio and Chicago and all these different places.
Well, that's the beer trader thing that they're probably looking out for. Who's the hot thing? Who's the thing that I can trade a can for of, I don't know, half acre to me, or Monkish is big on that, and what they're doing is still amazing to me that they can do what they do. I know other places are doing the same thing. It's that I think that's not going away.
No.
Will I ever get to that? Who knows? I don't plan to. I don't think, I do have a philosophy that if you think you're going to be like the next big brewery, a Stone or a Sierra Nevada, or even like, a more regional thing like an El Segundo or a Monkish or, Green Cheek even.
Yeah.
Noble. I'm like, good luck.
Love Noble.
Yeah, but good luck doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Because the markets, to me, has changed where it's now hyper-local.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Every city has their little or big brewery.
100%. And
there's no way you can grow in a couple years to be some California chain or regional chain. I'd be happy if I'm just LA, Orange County in the future. Mm-hmm. That's all I need.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to go more,
all
you're doing is putting the millions of dollars into something that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it, but not my philosophy and how I see this kind of growing. Mm-hmm. My biggest thing is like, I just want 4 more tanks soon.
Yeah.
That and like a 1 or 2 head can filler. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I think I maybe max this place out. Mm-hmm. And then I can just go from there.
Yeah.
Satellite tasting rooms, that's the new big thing to do.
Yeah, like the little micro ones that they're doing now.
The license, I don't know the number, but I know it's 6 or 8, something like that you can just take your license that you have here and open up in Downey or Azusa somewhere and just do a whole restaurant and just your beer.
Yeah.
And some guest taps. And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Green Cheek. You look at Green Cheek, Monkish, they're both doing that. I'm like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
El Segundo has started Smog with their the steel craft and everything.
Oh yeah,
it's
the one over in Bellflower.
Yeah, they're almost in every single one or something like that around, and I'm like, that's just brilliant.
Yeah,
it's the way to get your beer out there. Your margins are probably still a little bit up there because you're still selling your own beer. You're not giving it to a distributor to to lose that margin. So I'm just like, that's my goal, just to open up a tasting room somewhere. 5 years, 4 years.
That's awesome, man. And you obviously have the quality product, so you just keep striving with those.
Sorry, that was knock on wood.
It's all good.
All good. Product.
I'm gonna go in here for another drink here, though.
Let me ask you, what got you into doing the podcast for this?
My brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Had you done podcasts before?
I had never done it before until my brother started it. It was called Taps and Tailgates. And we started, the first episode I think was him and my cousin. And then after that, he was like, hey, do you want to do this with me? So I was like, all right. And then so we did that. We did about 100 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then my brother got busy, so he quit. My other buddy decided he didn't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. Kind of like what your buddies said, the homebrew buddies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happened. And
life does happen, yeah.
Oh, for sure. So that happened, and then I was like, I remember, I probably mentioned this on the show before, but I remember like thinking like, well, crap, I want to keep doing this. And I always wanted it to get to this point where I could talk to people like you or talk to brewers or owners, but I also wanted to expand it to talk to people on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Yeah, being able to talk to people on Instagram and being able to hear their story too, because and almost make it then like almost like a travel kind of thing too. So it's the craft beer, but it's also if you're going to say Philadelphia, what's the best brewery to go to out there?
Or you have already an idea of 2 or 3 that you want to hit.
Because, yeah. So when I can talk to these people and they can tell me those sort of things, or even it's like, I just talked to, it's actually today's episode that released was Kate Bernat. She's the director of the North American Guild of Beer Writers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was awesome. Like, she was so cool. And she lives in Montana. She was telling me about Big Sky. That's how I knew Big Sky. You talked about
Moose Drool.
Yeah, Moose Drool. Yeah, she's out in Missoula, and she, we talked about that. We talked about like I don't know if you're a Yellowstone fan, but they talk about like.
Is that a TV show?
Yeah.
I don't have time to watch TV shows.
Oh, it's all good.
I just fall when I go home and turn on the TV. I fall asleep,
Oh yeah.
and then episode 4 when I wake up, I'm like,
There you go.
I missed everything.
That's me with How I Met Your Mother. We always me and my brother called 6740 our McLarens.
Nah. Sure.
So like that was like our go-to bar. But yeah, like being able to talk to people like that too and making those connections and because like I said, yeah, if you can go to Montana or if I've always wanted to go to Canada just to eat all the poutine that they have. Talked to Chelsea Tessier up there way back when. So like that for me was like being able to not just obviously it's about the beer and it's about hearing your story or like other people's like journey like getting into craft beer, but then to talk to the everyday person that that loves to consume it and talk about their specific pocket, kind of like you and Angry Horse have their pocket kind of thing for for LA County and stuff like that. So
awesome.
Yeah,
well, that's cool. And it's very much it's you doing podcasts, me brewing beer. And it's the same kind of passion and liking to do it. So yeah, I get that. That's cool.
100%.
Cool.
Other like I always like to ask people too is, have you ever had a stuck mash?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would love to hear your stories.
Make a hazy, and I mean it's wheat and oats. I mean, what is wheat? Wet. It's dough.
Pretty much.
It's sticky dough. So yeah, the bigger, especially on our system, the bigger we go, more try to get that double dry hopped hazy. Yeah. 8%, something like that. We always run into little issues. We always have to really watch.
Okay.
And lots of tricks and pray that it goes. Otherwise, it's the transfer just takes hours. And you're just like, I don't have time for this. We've multiple stuck mashes. We always get through it. We've learned
rice
tricks.
holes.
Rice holes sometimes work.
Yeah.
It's just so much grain.
Yeah.
And so much wheat and oats that is very thick and viscous that it just gets clogged.
Wow. I
don't know what to do. Sometimes you just try. People tell me, well, just make a smaller batch. I'm like,
can't make.
Do you know how fast I go through a hazy? I'm like, no, I need to get close to 10 barrels every time. Otherwise, I'll be out. And that's good and bad thing here is that I can't really keep a tank empty.
Yeah, of course.
Because that will lower my tap list.
Yeah.
And just back me up. It was maybe about 2 weeks ago, my glycol took a dump.
Oh, wow.
I was okay because I had finished beer in the tanks, but I couldn't really do anything new.
Yeah.
So it was a week and a half of the guy coming out kind of to fix this. Oh, that didn't do it. Let's fix this. Got to order this.
Yeah.
And finally got it back up. And I was like, okay, but that week and a half put me back 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So my tap list went from 15-ish down to 10 really quick.
Oh, wow.
And when that happens, then you're only selling one of those 10 instead of 3 of those 15.
Yeah.
And everything just disappears faster. And so I was like, oh no. So just, again, 8 days a week, get the tanks filled back up. And now the next 2 beers that will come out will get me back to that full tap list that I try to keep.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, stuck mashes are
pain in the ass.
Yeah, when they happen, it's just, but you end up planning your day. It's if I know I'm doing a big one like that, then it's all right, don't have anything planned for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Start as early as possible and just know that it might happen. There's lots of new enzymes and stuff that are supposed to help.
Okay.
With keeping that water more watery.
Yeah.
And not as doughy. And I've seen a little bit of help with it, but it's also kind of messed. I'll try to use it for other beers, but it messes with the clarity and stuff. So I'm still trying to find that right amount to use.
Yeah.
To kind of help with stuff like that. It works great on hazies because you aren't clarifying that. You're sweet, it's hazy.
Yeah.
So it worked. I have one in the tank, probably out next week sometime. 8.5%.
Okay.
So I'm to me that's a little too much. As for a beer, 8.5, because people will just tend to go, what's the highest ABV you got? I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm okay. So, they're fun to make, but I try to keep it, 7.5, 8 is about the most I like to do for IPAs, because I want you to try all 4 that I have
Exactly.
and not be passed out after 2.
Yeah.
So, but they're popular. They go.
Oh yeah,
So-
hazies. I feel like. I mean, I was talking to. I want to say it was. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting her name. Adrian Hodap from the head brewer for Hermosa.
Okay.
And she was telling me, like, we were talking about how, well, I was mentioning, like, how I felt like West Coast were kind of making a comeback in a way. But I was like, I know they never really went away. She was like, I didn't know they went anywhere.
They didn't.
Yeah, but I just felt like hazies kind of just took over everything
Yeah.
for a while.
And I still believe, I get some flack that my hazies are too bitter. Because I still do a bittering hop to it. A lot of, I hear a lot of breweries aren't even bittering hop at all.
Yeah.
Like, I get it because you just want that aroma and that nice smooth taste. But I'm like, it's an IPA.
Yeah.
To me, there's still like a core thing you have to do with an IPA. You have to have a bitterness to it. That flavor of that bittering hop should help throughout. Now, I don't use much.
Yeah.
But I think it's still personal philosophy that it should still be there.
Yeah.
So otherwise, to me, it's just a dry hopped wheat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not an IPA.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of brewers don't like hazies at all, but they got to do it. Like a lot of it, same thing with seltzers.
Oh, yeah.
I could do a seltzer. I'm afraid if I do, it's going to take over. I only have 4 fermenters.
Yeah.
It's going to take over 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like
probably.
friendly is once it's out, it's back in.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3 to 4 week process on that thing. And I'll go through that much in that time. And I'm like, if I do a seltzer, it's like, I don't want to say I'm shooting myself in the foot.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky enough that I can have outside taps, guest taps.
Okay.
So I can just bring in seltzers from around the area, and that covers my seltzer crowd.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though. I mean, at least
As
you
we
kind of
call them,
have...
Zima crowd.
Yeah. Zima, geez, I remember those are so popular, like late 90s, early 2000s.
In my college time, not to age myself, but the 90 to 95 kind of time, I was just like, Clear Pepsi was out. And Zima,
Crystal
I was
Pepsi.
just like, oh.
That was my go-to as a kid,
It's
Crystal
just
Pepsi.
I didn't understand it, but I was like, okay.
Oh, man, that's funny. I don't want to keep you too long, but I just have a couple more things for
Go
you.
for it.
Do you have any fun, tap room stories since you guys been kind of reopened now the last year? Or any just fun brewing stories or anything like that?
I mean, the funnest one I like to tell was that guy who was from Orange County.
Yeah.
Was told by his friend that, was told that he doesn't have to wear a mask because he's from Orange County. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's daily. I mean, I have really good staff that like to have fun.
Awesome.
And they help. Like you saw, Ashley came in just a second ago. I mean, she's been a godsend here just to run the front of house.
That's cool.
Where I can focus still on the brewery and just sort of just be in charge of her and not everybody else.
Yeah.
That's been fun to learn how to work with that and that aspect. I mean, it's a business, so there's other drama and stuff that you deal with.
Yeah.
Stuff that I never really thought I'd have to, but here I am trying to do it. The food was not something I wanted to be in charge of.
Yeah.
I just wanted to run a brewery. But I'm glad that I'm doing it because it's kind of rounded me out a little bit. Hopefully, again, knock on wood. I think the fun story is that I still will have occasionally a line to the door.
Awesome.
And people will wait for my beer. I think that's the cool part.
Yeah.
We're working on trying not to have a line to the door. I'd like to expedite it faster with having a server station outside. But to see that people want to hang out for a pint, it kind of tells me, that's, I still people's drinking stuff that I make.
Yeah.
I still get a little kick out of that.
That's awesome.
So I'd say that'd probably be the fun story.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's tons. You probably if you ever want to talk to my staff, they'll tell you because they're here at night.
Okay.
They can tell you all the fun drunk stories that happen here, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And you know what we could do? We can do at the end of the episode. We can get Ashley in here, and if she wants to just tell her name, how long she's been here. And what's your favorite beer on tap?
If she wants.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. It's all right. Yeah, because what I used to do is I used to have a little lapel mic. I would always take that when I would record somewhere because then I would, ask the staff to just to highlight them because, I mean, the staff's obviously super important, like you were saying.
Sure, yeah, we'll go ask her. See, yeah, she might want to do it.
Yeah. No worries. Do you have, I don't know if some people just don't get hangovers, but if you were to have one, do you have a cure?
No.
No?
The hangover is sleep the next day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think mine is vitamins.
Yeah. I just a little older now, and it's, I still enjoy my beer and that social aspect of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's just, one or two too many, I'm just like, I tell Ashley, is like, hey, I'm not going to come in today. And she's just like, okay, all right.
One of those nights?
And it's just sleep it off, just rest the next day, then I'm good. But I think the best cure for a hangover is just know your limit.
100%.
And, go home.
Oh, yeah.
After, don't get that liquid courage and keep going somewhere else.
Oh,
Go to
no.
Yeah, cure for hangover. I don't know
Yeah.
if there is. Water?
Probably. There's the shout out to Drinking Buddy because they actually made like a hangover supplement in a way. It's mostly like vitamins for me. Like I'll wake up, I'll take a men's one a day and vitamin C, then I'll take a shower. I'm usually okay after that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the show, it's like, all right, I got to be okay for tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for me. Like I say, 1 or 2 days off puts me back 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So it's, and there's some good bars around here. So, a lot of friends that I know, and yeah, sometimes it's just like, oof.
Yeah. Or maybe a Bloody Mary in the morning. I'm not a big fan of them, but I've heard people swear by Bloody Marys.
I think it's probably just the sugar in there that
probably.
And there's a little booze in there.
Yeah.
That just, it just gets, that's the Vegas hangover cure is
screwdrivers and Bloody Marys.
Drink another beer in the morning and you're just drunk again, so you feel great.
Yeah. Oh, I've even seen some people put strips of bacon in their Bloody Marys now. I'm like, what is that all about? But I mean, I guess maybe that bacon's probably delicious. But
it's breakfast.
Oh yeah. Another thing. So I've noticed you have some Star Wars stuff around. So
yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie or character?
Oh, it's anything Star Wars for sure.
Okay.
I'm old enough that I went to the theaters for episode 4, 5, and 6.
Awesome.
So I still remember that, my brother taking us and just standing in line to watch it, and especially Empire Strikes Back.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Rogue One's great.
Love Rogue One. Yeah.
I wish they would do more Rogue One-esque things and not more adultish, because all the fans are adults now. They should make an R-rated Star Wars movie.
I'm down with that. I think they're like Knights of the Old Republic or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We're all Star Wars nerds here. I'm a big baseball nut.
Okay.
Angel fan. Sorry,
all right.
Dodger fans.
Oh, I'm a Braves fan too.
Dodgers, they're great, but they suck.
Yeah, there it is. Snap. Yeah. I'll take a high five for that. There we go. Sorry, love. She's a Dodger fan.
They all know. They all know here.
It's all right.
So, Field of Dreams.
Oh,
Natural.
Classic.
Stuff like that. I like the old baseball movies, stuff like that. Star Wars. Yeah. That'd be my thing.
That's awesome, man. Same. I love baseball. I always say that baseball has the best postseason out of any sport. But I love baseball. Obviously, I love Star Wars. Honestly, anything. I grew up reading comics and still do. I don't buy them as often anymore because then I found out I started running out of room.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a big comic book crowd here in Whittier. I know there's a few stores.
Oh yeah.
Now, there's a following around here.
Yeah, the comic shop over there. I would go just before I would get my haircut because my barber was never on time.
There's only so many. There's so many barbers here in uptown.
Yeah,
I think they say it's per capita is one of the most barber intense cities in.
Oh really?
Either LA County or California, but there's some stat like that there's per capita in Whittier. There's just a barber every 2 blocks. Kind of thing. Wow! It's pretty funny.
Yeah, so I would walk right over because it was right next to the cutting edge. I'd walk in there, pick up because I would have to pull a list. So I'd have them pull whatever ones that I wanted for that week. But then, I got to the point where I was like, dude, I can't I can't keep up with all the stuff that I have. I don't have enough room
Yeah.
in my living space to contain all that
storage
stuff.
unit for it or something like that. Yeah, and
Probably
that gets a
would've
little too
needed it.
much.
Oh,
It gets a little
yeah.
too much.
But I have some really old ones, like from
Nice.
like when I was little, like in the like late '80s. My John Burns Man of Steel run was probably my favorite one that I have because I have all 4 of those or 6 of those,
Oh,
whichever
wow.
it is. But like,
I don't know what any of that means.
oh, I know.
But, I mean,
I'm just nerding out right
you
now.
sound really confident that these are really popular things, so I'm just be like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, I know. Well, I mean, it's somewhat related. I mean, I still have all my baseball cards at
Awesome.
my parents' house, and my mom's like, I need to clean out those 3 drawers. I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't. That's
you
gonna be
don't.
worse than
I don't care if they're worth anything. I just don't want them gone because
Yeah.
that literally is me going to a liquor store
That's awesome.
to buying the wax packs.
Oh,
For
I used
like
to bubblegum ones.
10
Were my
year,
favorite.
yeah, the cardboard bubblegum from 80. I would say, yeah. Well, age myself from about when I was like 7 or 8 years old to almost through most like 2 years of high school. I would just every time I go buy whatever money I had, buy
Yeah.
packs, and I just fill my shoe boxes.
Awesome.
Then I got into the sets a little bit in the late 80s into early 90s, and then college started, and
Yeah.
I
Well-
kind of quit on that. But yeah, there's stuff in
But
the
yeah,
drawers.
Baseball cards, or when I say cards in general, have made a
They're coming back,
resurgence.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because I mean I remember being a kid buying Beckett's and like going through like looking like, oh, this Troy Aikman is worth this much money.
The only problem, like my best set is I have 1983, 84, 85, like complete sets from like Topps, Fleer, Donruss. So the problem is though, those are all the steroid users.
Oh yeah,
You know, the
McGuire,
Roger Clemens,
Canseco, yeah.
Canseco,
Yeah.
all those, and I was just like, I mean, it was up there, and then now you're just like, I think they're coming back a little bit, but
Yeah.
Clemens is never going to be a Hall of Famer. Bonds is never going to, I'm like, oh well.
Now even with, I mean, and the guy that didn't even use steroids, Pete Rose. I mean, I get he bet on baseball, but it's like he was betting on his own team. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I always feel like Pete Rose is still probably the greatest hitter of all time.
Probably, but
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion is just a horrible human being for
Yeah.
ruining it. He did
Yeah.
it. He bet on his own team.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Just like all those guys that are pretty obvious that they cheated shouldn't be ever getting the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So
And we'll see what happens with the 2017 Astros. Was it 2017 when that happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't talk about that around here. There's a lot of
gotcha.
Dodger fans that
Oh,
just
yeah.
hate it, and I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
everyone was probably cheating at somehow.
Oh yeah. I mean, they
just-
found with the Red
they
Sox.
just did it really better.
Yeah, the Red Sox. It happened to the Red Sox shortly
Yeah.
thereafter. So,
Yeah.
and they gave him kind of a slap on the wrist. I mean,
Yeah, the players didn't get hit. The players should have gotten hit a little bit more
Yeah.
because they were the ones doing it
yeah.
and taking
I,
advantage of it. So
the ones that I felt bad for is because the Astros at that point had never won a World Series. So like, I have one of my best friends is an Astros fan, and then I have a cousin that's like, has been his team his whole life. He's like, man, we won. I was so happy. He's like, but then all this stuff happens, and it's
Yeah.
like,
You don't
we're
wanna
the scum of
admit
the earth. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they won last year, right?
Yeah. So they.
So,
I feel like that was kind of the makeup
justification,
one.
but it doesn't go well around here.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no.
Definitely.
I mean, I went to an Angels game this year, and they were playing Toronto, so Springer was on there.
Oh yeah, Springer Dinger.
I didn't even comprehend it, and
Yeah.
everyone started at Angel Stadium started booing Springer, and I was like,
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, they're cleaning leaves out.
Oh, it's all
that's
good,
what it
no
is.
worries.
Or up the ramp, so
Nah,
it'll
it's
go away in
alright.
a second.
Nah, no problem.
But yeah, so they started booing Springer, and I'm like, what? Oh.
No, that's why.
So then I started booing too, and I was like, just because
Yeah.
I'll follow the crowd. But yeah, it was pretty funny that it's still there. Springer, Altuve, I think are the big ones,
Yeah.
and Correa, but he's always hurt, so
Yeah,
he doesn't play.
He signed a huge deal and then,
yeah,
hasn't barely
hasn't
played.
done anything. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an Angels fan, so I'm all about
but
Mike
you know
Trout
what?
getting hurt. Probably not going to have Shohei.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we've been horrible for the past 8 years, and we're probably going to be horrible for the next 10.
I know. And that's,
Like,
I mean, honestly,
ugh.
I kind of, because I've always had a soft spot for the Angels because, I mean, growing up, before I fell in love with the Braves, like Chipper Jones is the reason why I became a
Sure.
Braves fan. But growing up, I mean, the first game I ever went to was an Angel game. It was Chuck Finley. It was Chili Davis. It was, Tim Salmon.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was my team.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, I go back Wally Joyner,
Oh,
Brian
yeah.
Downing,
Yeah.
Lance Parrish and Johnny Ray, Doug DeCinces,
Yeah.
Gary DiSarcina. Oh yeah.
But even like the 2002 team, is that the one that won the World Series? Like GA,
Hang on. Let's just kind of remember that the Angels won in 2002. Let's make sure that gets into the podcast.
There we go.
All you Dodger fans that say my team sucks, I have won World Series.
There you go.
That's better than the Clippers, so you can't compare me to the Clippers anymore.
100%.
I have a World Series.
Yeah.
In 162 games, I want to mention not a strike-shortened 60-ish, 70 game season.
Yeah.
What was
50-ish? Yeah, 50-ish.
I don't remember a third of the season. What was that? The trophy should be like 2/3 smaller.
Bingo.
To me, that makes sense. That you can put in. That you can put in, and I'm probably going to get a lot of... But that's okay, because I won't be here for the next couple of weeks when we start pouring. So they can yell at my staff, not at me.
Oh, that's awesome. No, but I mean, I remember like watching that team because it was... Like, that was like also the year, what, the 21 games in a row? Was it 21 or 20 from the A's?
Oh, the A's, it was 20...
Was it 20 or 21?
The Moneyball movie?
Yeah.
Oh, every time I watch that show, I'm like going...
Like, yeah, you won all these games, but you lost, and you lost to the Yankees. But you know what's crazy? I recorded the intro for Sunday's episode, and I was talking about how one play can make a difference. Mm-hmm. Like, even like going back to that World Series with like when the Giants were up, 7 runs? And then going back to that early on in that postseason when it was the Yankees and the A's, and that one little flip from Jeter changed that entire series.
It did, yeah.
And people think like, oh, it's baseball. Like, one play can't change anything. Yeah, but it can completely swing an entire postseason.
And baseball has that. Baseball has that swing momentum way more than most other sports. The other one would probably be basketball. Yeah. And then maybe football, hockey, which I don't really pay attention to, but baseball is that mental thing where it can, wow, look what we just did, let's go, boom, next thing you know, 2 base hits, and you're like, oh, we got this.
Yeah, you start that rally, and that's kind of where even for that 2002 Angel team, that rally monkey, the Frankie Rodriguez, K-Rod.
Thundersticks.
Yeah, Thundersticks, there you go. But with K-Rod, though, I remember that was like his coming out party was that series. Mm-hmm. Well, that entire postseason, really.
Oh, because, he dominated. He was that bullpen, though. That's what got us that. Donnelly, Shields. Yeah, what was the closer? K-Rod, Percival.
Yeah, Troy Percival. There you go.
Almost threw his arm off that year.
Oh, yeah.
He almost retired.
He almost kept his helmet, like his hat, so low. It was always like, you couldn't see his eyebrows.
And he used to be, I remember him, he kind of started, you could see the downward, like 2000, 2001 with him. Because he gave up drinking coffee. Oh, he used to be like espresso and coffee in the bullpen to get the energy up and go. Yeah. Then he cut it out, and he was like, "Oh, it's not the same." Yeah. But then 2002, I think it was just because we were winning that not that he went back on caffeine or anything, but you can see where he was just like, This is it. Yeah. This is the chance. Yeah. I'm going to go all out. He was starting to throw that 97, 98 again, and I'm like going, all right, it's still there, but I'm afraid that arm's going to go with the ball one time.
Yeah. He's going to be a Chet Steadman.
Yeah, and just be, be done. But I remember, that series was so great.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then when Lackey pitched Game 7, I remember being at Not Scary Farm. Huh. I remember the day it happened. I had a little AM, FM radio with a little thing. Not trying to age myself, but I remember that day walking through the maze. I was like, they won. I was cheering because I was cheering about. My uncle is a huge Angel fan, so like I always try to.
Good guy.
Yeah, seems like a really nice guy. Mm-hmm.
I remember going to someone's house party because I was still at the newspaper, and we were driving out with the girl I was dating at the time, and we had to go out to Redlands. So I was like, okay, well. Are they going to have the game on? Yeah. That's all I care about. Like, yes, they'll have the game on. But we're driving, and the game's starting. Yeah. So I'm like, I turn it to AM, and I go right there, and she's like about to turn it to her music. And I'm like, I just looked at her. I was like...
I don't think so.
Like, no. You don't understand. The Angels are in the World Series. I know this isn't going to happen for a long, if ever. Yeah. I'm listening and watching every moment. You're making me drive and miss this on TV. Yeah. I'm not happy already. Don't you dare change it. Yeah. Or put your CD in or whatever. And she looked at me like, just a look of like, are you serious? I was like, sorry. Do you want to ride home? Yeah. We're in Redlands and you want to come back to Whittier? I'm like, you tell me. Yeah. It was funny.
No, I get it, because there are times where when her and I were talking about and the Braves are playing, or like, something's going on. I think it was this time last year. It was the NLDS when the Braves lost to the Phillies, and she's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, and she's like, "Do you want me to let you go?" I was like, "I'm sorry, but it's like it's game 2."
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry,
like,
you were talking?
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it was a must-win game though, because the Braves had lost game 1. I was like, and they eventually went on to lose the series, but I was like, yeah, Kyle Wright was pitching. He was like, I need to focus on the game.
Got to get all your little things like, don't move that phone.
Yeah.
Don't move that
Don't
little
even
thing, because
touch it.
that's
Don't
the
even
karma
look at
right there.
it.
Wearing the same hat,
Exactly.
same underwear,
Oh, I was that way in the year that, was it 2021 when they won the World Series? I was like, well, I was wearing my Maddox jersey when they won. So when they won Game 5, so it's like I should probably throw that back on for Game 6. Oh, they had lost Game 5, but they had won Game 6. So I was like, wait, what? I'm trying to remember what jersey. It was either Chipper or Maddox. It does that beside the point. I was wearing one of the jerseys.
I mean, Angels they were down 3-2, and they had to go win 6 and 7, I think it was. And I was like, we won 6, and I'm like going, I'm sitting in my apartment.
Yeah,
not
going
like, she
anywhere,
wanted to
'cause
go
that was
out.
a
I'm like,
Sunday.
nope. I'm like, we're staying right here. I don't care.
Yeah. I remember Game 6, when they came back from the 7-run deficit, I think it was. But I was in.
Is that the Scott
Laughlin.
Spezio blast?
Yeah, I was in. Oh, was it
Or
Sam?
Troy Gloss? Sam, I don't know.
I remember Salmon hit one, and he was like, it was like, holy shit, Salmon put one in the right field bleachers. But I remember being in Laughlin, and then I remember coming back home, because I think my grandma was like renewing her vows. I have a pretty good memory. So I think that's what was going on. I got back home, and then my cousin's like, we're going to Knott's Careful. I was like, what about the game? He's like, oh, don't worry, I got a radio. He's like, I got us radios. So we listened to it on the radio. Classic.
That's funny.
But it's crazy, like, when you think of, like, baseball, like, and then people say, like, baseball isn't, like, a romantic, or not romantic, but, like...
It's not action-packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, if you can't say that, like,
Hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball.
Oh, yeah. Even Dion says that. I mean, the head coach now for the Buffaloes, like, he says, they asked him, like, oh, what's the hardest sport you ever played? He's like, baseball, easily. He's like, it's not even close.
The grind, I'm sure. I mean...
It's 162 games.
I tried to play baseball as a kid.
Yeah.
I sucked at it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, but still, like, love the sport. And,
for sure.
How 162 games, traveling and all that, I mean, is a wear and tear,
Definitely.
So, yeah. But, yeah, still, that and golf. You can still be fat and pudgy and still be good.
Yeah, John Daly. That's like that. He's my spirit animal. Says he drinks booze, smokes cigarettes, and just kills it on
Plays
the
golf.
course.
Yeah. I'm like, good for you. Yeah.
Living the dream.
Right? That's funny. Looking like Santa Claus.
Yep.
That's
but
funny.
this has been super fun, John. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for coming, man.
This makes me happy, because I tell all the listeners, but, like, this is like my therapy. Like, being able to just unwind, have a beer, have a conversation, but just be able to hear somebody's story for me means everything to me. So,
Sweet. No, thanks for coming. Yeah, no, it's like a first podcast I've done, and so
yeah,
I finally had time to kind of do this. So I was just like, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And
like Neither. I will do an IPA with a really good ceviche.
Oh, there you go.
Ceviche with that lime and everything. When we homebrewed, we had a neighbor who lived downstairs, and she would make ceviche every once in a while, and we were sitting there drinking an IPA homebrew with the ceviche, and they both just accentuated the citrus and lime flavor left and right.
That's
ceviche
awesome.
is what I would, if I had the choice to do it. Yeah, I would be like, give me a bowl of ceviche, nice citrus thing, avocado, all that stuff, and a good West Coast IPA.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever tried the two together, but I know, like, you like ceviche. I'm not the biggest ceviche person, but I love shrimp. Like, if there's shrimp in something, I'll eat that. But thank you again, John.
Sure.
Make sure, everybody listening, if you follow at Whittier Brewing Company on Instagram.
Instagram is at Whittier Brewing.
At Whittier Brewing, okay? And then come on down to, I mean, it's obviously prime location if you're familiar with the Whittier area. It's on Philadelphia and Greenleaf. Definitely come down. I mean, there's tons of vendors in here. You can have some great beer. Maybe John will be here. Pick up some merch. maybe a glass or two and knock back a few and maybe play some pinball because there's some pinball machines out there. There's pizza. I smelled the cinnamon rolls earlier. Holy crap, they smell delicious. But come on down and have a good time and just enjoy yourself, man. And crack a brewski. And I'm trying to think. I lost my train of thought there, but it's okay.
Have a good time.
Yeah, party on.
Talk
Wayne.
with your friends and chill. That's our whole vibe here. Is that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and that's the only vibe you need.
Sweet.
Thanks again, John. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, just before we end the episode, we do have some people here that have actually own their own businesses within the Nixon Plaza. We also have an employee coming on right now, Ashley.
Ashley, yeah.
Rocking the dolphin hat. Like it. My cousin's a big dolphin fan, so there you go. How long have you been here?
I've been here since January 2020.
Okay. Oh, from pretty much the beginning then, yeah?
A month after.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite beer here?
I do. One of my favorites is German Schwarzbier or a black lager. It's just a real nice, smooth, well-rounded, malted, just like roasty coffee. Perfect for a nice summer day or a winter day.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got to name it.
There you go.
Kind of stole the name, but I saw a lager and I wanted painted black. Painted black is for short.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the Metallica kind of thing? Was it? Because I saw the shirt, so I thought maybe it was
We
like
do
Metallica
have
themed.
we do have a lot of like music influences for our beer names. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's cool. Do you have any funny tap room stories?
I got plenty.
Yeah, you're fine.
I mean, we got a lot of characters in Uptown Whittier, but I think one of my favorite stories is that we had a full buyout wedding here, and
Awesome.
we had signs all over that it was closed for a private event, but we still had a lot of regulars somehow find their way into the tap room. So
Nice.
probably just, that's my most favorite, at least, story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I also have with me
Nancy,
Nancy. Okay. And what's the name of your business, Nancy?
Providence Bakehouse.
Awesome. So what do you guys specialize in, or what's your favorite thing at your bakehouse?
Well, we kind of specialize obviously in pastries, but
Okay.
croissants, cheesecakes. We kind of came from the farmers market world, and
Okay.
we came in here.
Awesome. Yeah, and I smelled the cinnamon rolls when I walked out. I was like, uh-oh. Those smell pretty good.
Yeah, we kind of jokingly say that's what kind of got us in here, thanks to John, because he would come every Friday and buy our cinnamon rolls.
That's awesome.
That's
and
amazing.
love to be able to hear those stories, to be able to hear that, what the genuine connections can, ultimately bring, and being able to, have your own spot in here. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're really grateful. I mean, we love, I'm a Whittier local. I went to school here, went to college here. And
Okay.
So to kind of have a business in the heart of Uptown
Yeah.
is kind of cool. I mean,
That's awesome.
Never really thought of that, in a million years I would have a business here.
Yeah. And how long have you been baking?
It kind of runs in the family.
Okay.
But with this business, it's been since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We used to run a cafe, and then when the pandemic hit, we kind of got let go, my husband and I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then it kind of started, and it kind of rolled into this big old thing. One thing led to another, and now we kind of have our business.
Okay.
Three years after.
Awesome. Seems like things are going well, so I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thankfully. I mean, we have a lot of locals. A lot of locals followed us from the farmers market. We have not a lot of new customers, but we love being in here because we kind of, we're the first spot here. We welcome everybody in, and we get to see everybody come and go.
Awesome. Well, keep it up. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I also have Brian from Pit and Bull Barbecue here. He's also within the Nixon Building. Can you tell us a little bit about your business, Brian?
Well, it's a barbecue spot. We specialize in Texas style barbecue craft. We started, I think, last October.
Okay.
I started off here just with a couple smokers, and it got kind of popular. So
Awesome.
me and John built out a cage and threw bigger smokers in there. So now we're like going.
That's cool.
But
Do you guys special in like do you like is it brisket or what's your favorite type?
We do 5 things that we always have on the menu, and that's brisket, turkey, pork butt,
awesome,
spare ribs, and we make our own sausage.
Ooh,
those
nice.
5 things, and then every so often we'll run specials with beef rib or tri-tip, chicken.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
The sausage too, because I know some places do everyone does their sausage differently. I know like some do like jalapeno cheddar ones, or what kind do you?
We just do a straight style.
Okay.
Texas hot link.
Oh,
Czech,
nice.
Czech influence. It's I'd say 60% pork, 40% beef.
Awesome.
And it's really good.
I
That's
bet.
one of the recipes I'm most proud about, I think.
Yeah, and I love that too, because when you get that because you said 60% pork, you get that extra kind of fat content in there. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
That's
probably
exactly why we do that ratio. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I bet it sounds delicious. And how long have you guys been going now? You said
About a year now. It's going to be a year this October.
wow, that's awesome, man. And just one day we'll have to try some of your barbecue, but everything looks really good on the menu from what I saw over there. Yeah, keep on killing it, brother.
Good feedback.
That's awesome, man. Keep on killing it.
All right.
Thanks, brother. All right. I also my last guest of the day is Jason from La Crosta Wood-Fired Pizza. He's also within the Nixon Building. Looks like he's got some great pizza out there. How's it going, brother?
Very good.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long have you guys been making pizzas?
So I started this business in 2019. It was kind of my side hustle. I too love craft beer, so I started my whole business just so I could pop up at breweries, have beer, and sell pizza. That was
Awesome, man.
kind of my strategy for it.
That's cool though, because they go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza. That's what me and John were talking about earlier. How like pizza and beer, just like can life get better? Yeah.
Really can.
No, really cannot. Were you always kind of into making pizza, or was it just something that you were kind of like in 2019, like, oh, I want to do this, or how did that come about?
So, I don't want to give away my age, but right
sorry.
after high school, I started working in restaurants and stuff like that, dishwashing, kind of line cooking. I made the decision to go to culinary school.
Okay.
Kind of started my culinary path.
Awesome.
Always, I'm half Italian. I always loved that kind of food, and pizza was always a comfort food for me.
Yeah.
So throughout my whole career, it was always something that I enjoyed making. I think a lot of people in this industry have like really stressful days, and I never had a bad day making a pizza.
Awesome.
Maybe being a business owner, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
physically making pizza, yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite favorite toppings? If you were gonna make your own pizza, what would you make? How would you make it? Or what
You know what?
toppings? Yeah.
I always judge a pizza by, especially my style, we do Neapolitan pizza.
Okay.
We're actually the only wood-fired Neapolitan pizzeria in Whittier.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
I always try the margarita first. Make sure the sauce or cheese or dough, everything's on point.
Yeah.
The fresh basil, the olive oil.
Oh yeah.
I probably eat about a slice of that every single day of my life.
There you go.
Yeah, at least,
Can't go wrong with
and
pizza.
it's always good.
Yeah. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Who cares?
Very true.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite topping though that would go on pizza, or the margarita?
The margarita, the classic buffalo mozzarella cheese.
Okay.
Water buffalo's milk. It's a little bit more, has a little bit more complex flavor than cow's milk.
Okay.
Definitely a wonderful pizza topping.
Awesome. I don't think I've tried that, so I might have to do that. I love pepperoni, like pepperoni, sausage, mushroom.
Definitely the most popular topping is pepperoni. hands
Oh
down.
yeah, definitely. But
I also love pepperoni, but
Yeah.
there's so many amazing other ingredients out there. So.
I always love like white pies too, like a little bit of Alfredo sauce, like garlic or minced garlic, and olive oil, stuff like that. That stuff and basil on there. It's delicious. Pesto.
Very true. We got a lot of that stuff here. So.
Yeah. Did you were you born out here? Because you mentioned being like Italian, or was your family from out there?
My family's from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I moved out here when I was 6 years old.
Awesome.
So right after I started first grade.
Okay.
And then pretty much grew up in Whittier ever since. So
That's
I'm
cool,
a Whittier
man.
local, but with a little bit of New York in me too.
There you go. Yeah. As soon as you said Brooklyn, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. One of the pizza capitals of the world out there. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about your business.
Very nice to
brother.
meet you.
Yeah, nice to
Pleasure.
meet you too, man. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a ton of fun. They have some great beer, great people. And that's what this whole thing's about. And I know I say it all the time, and you probably get tired of hearing about it. But man, support small businessmen, support local businesses. they're just like, like I said, they're the backbone of our communities. So, go and support them if you can. Also, I did want to tell you guys in the next couple weeks. So next week, the interview will be with Nick Pavlina from Humble Sea. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that one. We didn't go too long, but we had a good conversation. And then it's also the week after that. It's going to be Beer Paper LA with Daniel Drennan. That one should be good. And then also I talked to Big Brian's Meats. To Brian from Big Brian's Meats. Recorded the 3 interviews this past week. So yeah, those are going to be good. And then I'm also next Sunday, I'm going to go hang out with Nadav over at Long Beach Beer Lab, and we're going to talk some beer and talk about his journey moving forward after he leaves Long Beach Beer Lab to move back to Israel. So, all right. Well, I hope everybody enjoys their week. Always, if you guys ever want to reach out on IG or anything like that, or if you want to comment, or give me 5 stars or whatever you want to do, man. It's no big deal. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy your week, and take care, Tap Fam. And don't get sick. Fucking blows.